name is Nancy, and I teach transitional kindergarten classroom at Pinewood Elementary School in Pollock Pines, California. And what I wanted to share with you, because with TK it's a little different, I can do little tiny lessons to keep their interest, and I try to teach things that they're curious about. And Unit 9 from Little Treasures curriculum is my favorite because it's wild animals. So before I show you our main lesson of the day, I want to kind of give you an outline of what we've been studying that leads up to this moment. So wild animals, we just left animals around us, chickens, dogs, cats, etc. And then we go into wild animals. So I always start off with a little giraffe project, and I try to bring in the realistic pictures of giraffe and explanatory text, etc. Always do an art project, and then we always do some sort of writing, even at the TK level with directed instruction. They're able to take pride in their work and do a good job. And then we even do, I'll find a little activity that's quiet that they can do during their own individual center time. So we do giraffes, we go into elephants, we watch elephants, online videos of elephants. We watch the video where elephants are doing art and using their trunk to create art, and the kids always really like that. So again, realistic text, explanatory text, and then they create a little elephant book, and we go on to zebras, where we bring in some marble rolling, and again, they're realistic. And every time we are learning about a new wild animal, we research them online and learn about how much they weigh and the size of the babies and where they live, etc. And then I like to tie it in on Earth Day. I just absolutely love Earth Day. And how I bring that in is about a week before Earth Day, I send home these paper bags. And I ask them to reuse their bag. I teach them the 3 R's, recycle, reduce, reuse. And they create an art with crayon resist art with coloring their continents and painting their water, their ocean ways, and talk about the importance of water. And I love this one. I thought I would share it with you. Braden was able to carry eggs from the chicken coop to the home, and also carried mail from the mailbox, and was able to take his brother's baseball stuff to practice. So they're really utilizing it. And all of them at some point have gone to Safeway, which is our local store, and they're bagging their own groceries. And it really helps the community embrace the TK curriculum because it's a somewhat new program. And it helps the kids have a sense of accomplishment because they're there with their bag and knowing they're reusing it and able to teach other people about reusing. So I want to share that with you. So then on Earth Day, it's the big water fun day. And how we do that is I had previously, a couple days before, we've done our unit study on whales. And again, it's an art project. They've labeled the whale. They've taken Cooper. I've had Cooper for about 20 years. He belonged to my son. And after we've labeled the whale, researched the whale, one of the assessment tools will all give them the stickers. Some of them are actually able to recognize the words and label it themselves, or I'll read the word to them, and then they put that body part, they label that body part. And we also are able to share that whales are mammals and the comparisons between ourselves and the wildlife. So it's just a great thing, which then leads to the water experiment. We live near a beautiful lake, and all of the students usually have visited the lake and hang out at the lake during the summer. And so personally, myself, when I go to the lake and take hikes, I'm always bringing a bag with me to collect litter because people unfortunately do litter. So I kind of tie it around teaching them the respect of our waterways and the importance. And there's nothing better than a visual. So I have them help create some habitat. We have shells and rocks, and we have little fish, and I let them add those things themselves. And then I talk about how litter gets put into the water. And one of the examples I show them is like when you go in, say this was their little lunch, if they have a water bottle, what do you do with it when you're finished with it? Well, it needs to go back into the container that you brought it from, or you need to find. And around the parks, there are garbage ways and recycling bins. So I show them how to look for the recycling bin so that, you know, they're their own voice. And it's so funny because they become more aware of it sometimes than their parents, and their parents are coming in and saying, oh, my child, we were somewhere, and they're wanting to pick up trash. Which leads me to another thing. I always tell them, because we are the trash patrol, the litter patrol on here on campus, is I teach them the proper way of picking up litter if they see it. And they have to ask their parents, because I don't want kids shooting across the parking lot to go pick up a piece of litter. So I always say, ask your parents. And never touch the container here, because I tell the children that this is where other people have had their mouth. So they hold it at the bottom. And then I dramatize the water experiment by going, I'm done, there it is. And usually there's some oohs and ahs. And I thought this can to be fitting because it says be naughty or nice. And I say it's really naughty to litter. So someone that litters is being naughty. They really should have been nice and put it in the recycling bin. Let me put this back in here because this is what I show them. Or I've shown them how to crush it, and sometimes you can fit it in a back pocket or a parent's back pocket. With that said, and we did this lesson already on Earth Day, so this is cut up, but I show them, I asked them if anybody knows what this is, and a lot of them have recognized it by having soda. And I said the sad thing about it is if an orca whale, I'll just use this one, or a bird or whatever happens to get their mouth caught in it, oh no, what's going to happen? And the kids really, without even pre-teaching, they understand that the animal will not be able to eat. And I say, well, if it can't eat, what happens? Well, then the animal can starve. So, and then we talk about if it gets caught on a body part, they can't use their fluke or fin to be able to swim. So they end up with a sense of sympathy for the wild animals. Another thing that we did is we had Sierra Wildlife come in, and she brought in some small little owls. I call them small, they're actually owls. The owl she brought in was the second smallest owl that exists, and she also brings in a hawk with one wing and how the animals were rescued. But we talk about the birds and seagulls and different birds that come in and different insects that come in and use the water to drink and catch fish and eat. So then last but not least, I've colored the water, just adding a little bit of watercoloring, is I take some water and some black watercolor, and you could probably even just use thick black paint, but I add some oil to it. And if you put a little vinegar into your solution, it makes it smell rancid, so the kids actually are getting that smell along with it and saying, ooh, it smells yucky. And we talk about oil spills, so I'm just gonna do this for, hopefully you get the dramatic effect or through the lens. Whoops, and it looks like we added more blue food coloring. So, let's see here, my black. Sorry about that, you can see the colors look alike, so you need to make sure that when you're doing the project that you get the right color going in. But as I was talking, maybe the thick, goopy black will even be better. So sometimes you learn that way. So here's our oil. So when we add the oil, the kids really get a little grossed out by this. So there's our oil. I might have one come and stir it around. And the oil actually floats to the top. I'm going to go ahead and spray it because I had it in with that blue, because you can really see how that oil floats to the top. And then I explained to the kids that sometimes chemicals end up in our waterway. And it could be chemicals make toys and from manufacturers, and those sometimes are dumped and poured into the drains, but they end up in the waterways. So I always add this, and I let them know that it's really not a chemical and toxic, but this is kind of what ends up happening to our water. So it's just a visual, because I don't want them to think we're using real chemicals. And then I tell them, and I know they've seen this before, the water has been really down, and when you go, you will find a lot of litter that's sunken. But for some reason, you'll always find tires. And what I explain to them is it costs money to take tires to recycle or into to the dump. And so what happens is people don't know what to do with their tires, and unfortunately, maybe it's because they don't have enough money, but a lot of people think it's okay to go and dump their tires and roll them into the waterway, and then they sink, and then when the water goes down, you end up finding them, and they're really grossed out by that. I've told them that actually people that don't want a car, instead of doing the right thing, sometimes they've even found cars at the bottom of a lake. The other thing that I talk about, and I want to hit on this, I hit on a little bit, is anytime you go to the beach, there's wind gusts and that sort of thing. So sometimes I say the litter sometimes is blown away, not by someone purposely littering, but if it blows away and they're not able to catch it, then if you're walking by, then that's when you can kind of grab, if it's a little wrapper to a granola bar, etc., and just stick that little piece of wrapper in your pocket, and then on the way out of a park, etc., that you throw that away. I really have created litter literally little litter patrol units. So now anytime we're walking even to the cafeteria, I will have students tell me, Miss Nancy, I see litter. One time a little girl said, I see glitter, I see glitter. I said, glitter? And she was trying to say litter. I just thought that was a sweet little spin on the word litter. It's nice to have a comparison of the waters. And then for the finale of this experiment, I have all the students take a feather, and I happen to find a white boa at a local thrift store, and white is a really good color because it really will pick up some of that black and that goop. And then I talk about the birds and how the feathers, if they become saturated with oil, their feathers are heavy, and then they can no longer fly, and if they can no longer fly, they might not be able to eat, and then what will happen? And they understand that the animal, the wildlife, will die. So you can do that, or you can buy feathers at Michael's and make those feathers that were so beautiful get kind of yucky. And if you have them try washing it with just water, it does not come off. And soap, it takes about 3 times. And if they happen to get their hands in the water, which is great too, they really don't like it because their hands have that slime, and it takes a while to wash it off. So you have to create a warm water source in your classroom to really have that work. And I explained that this is some people's job, that they go and study in school and become marine biologists, and they help take care of these animals, and that there are people in their communities that are volunteers that actually go and help that. And I always bring in, again, some sort of text. So with the Earth Day, we read the Bernstein Bears Don't Pollute, which is a non-realistic book, and then we read Earth Day is Every Day, which it talks about and shows real pictures, because I want them, they're in TK, so that we still have to have fun, but I think it's really important to be little and give these children that empowerment. They really are becoming the leaders of the community, and it's so cute because we are a little bit mighty. That's what we say in TK. And there are all kinds. I recycle calendars that have wildlife pictures, and then I've had this magazine forever, and it actually shows someone helping a seagull get cleaned up after an oil spill. And I do explain to the kids that sometimes the oil spill is an accident. It's by a barge that crashes or has a leak, but then it's going to take the community to clean that up. I'm just trying my best to make our world a nice place. I'm trying to give TKers the opportunity to learn and put those impressions in their heart and their mind so that as they grow up, they will be responsible. The kids are little adults under construction. That's how I like to say it too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and if you have a TK classroom at your school and you haven't been in the room, it's a nice idea to go and visit those teachers and just kind of see what they're doing in there, because it's a new program, and I am preaching the program because I love it and believe in what I do. Bye.